If you're running ads online for lead generation and you're struggling to get consistent results month in, month out, then this video is for you. Whether you're a small local business or you're just getting started with digital ads, I'll walk you through the 3 most fundamental principles that can either make or break a lead generation campaign. And these aren't just theory, by the way. They're based on real client results I've got in my agency across sectors like construction, finance, e-commerce, and more. Stick around, especially if you're running Facebook ads, because that's what I'm about to tell you about, and I'm about to save you a lot of time, stress, and most importantly, money. So point number 1 is actually knowing your audience. And you've probably heard 1,000 million marketing people say this over and over again, but at least here I'll be able to put it into some tangible example for you to see and you to actually get a better understanding of it. So, one of the biggest mistakes I actually see with small businesses is they try and run ads on social media and they're very generic. They don't call out a specific, ICP or type of customer profile that their business wants to go after, the type that they know is the exact type for their business, and they know that type will convert. So, people tend to go with generic messaging, generic targeting like that through their ads, and that's one of the main pitfalls of where people get caught. So, knowing your customer, knowing your audience, knowing who is going to buy your products or services is absolutely key here. And the example that I've got here is that we work with a mortgage broker in Warrington, and they're actually a bloody brilliant business. They've got some really good content and things like that. But as I said prior with the theory part, they were doing a similar thing, right? They were doing generic ads. They weren't calling out their target customer. And at first, what we did, we ran, some of the content that they already had made because they wanted to go and get started with the campaigns. And, it was great. They had some really good stuff, but we were getting kind of mediocre results, right? So in February and March, we launched their campaigns with the ads that they had. Like I said, messaging was quite generic, offer was quite generic. They're offering a free consultation, not too much different to what everyone else was offering. And, we ran them, we were getting some decent results, about 40 leads a month, every single month. But what we needed to do and what we spent time with this customer, this client of ours doing was working on how we could improve the messaging of the ads to speak to their, direct customer profile that they know that was going to convert. So what we did was we scripted some ads out and we selected the customer profile of, home owning parents, because the campaigns were targeted at people that were remortgaging, and 9 times out of 10 people that remortgage, they have a family, they want to build a family, and that really spoke to them. And that was great. And similarly, this is where your offer comes in too. We paired that with a hyper relevant offer. So like I said, most of these were homeowning parents, right? So what we did, we helped the mortgage broker craft an offer through their competitive advantage, right? So they had a partner company called, I think it was Trustify Estate Planning, and they actually offered free wills. So these people that were, families, homeowning parents, a free will was very, very topical for them because that's the kind of things that they were thinking about. So we implemented this in April, and we actually tripled the amount of leads that came in just from by offering, a free consultation. And if they signed up with us today for one of the lifetime mortgage offers, then they would actually get a free will worth £300. So really spoke to the audience, really dialed in on the audience, and I think in April we actually dialed in at 110 leads off less than £1,000 in ad spend. So that was an absolute key result for them, and it all came down to us, between us and our client, really understanding the audience and really digging deep and dialing in on the ads for them to go and target them. So the key takeaway for this one is speak directly to your audience with one specific problem. In this case, it was homeowning parents that were thinking about the families, etc. And like we saw here, you will get better sales, or you'll get better leads, you'll get better conversions from the ads that you are running. Number 2 is testing content and testing offers. So your ad content, it ain't just decoration, it is an absolute core component of driving results for you. So, most businesses tend to think that they can just slap up, a couple of photos and a good call to action like free consultation or book a call, and that's enough to get people over the line. When what we've learned is, if you're not testing consistently, then you are continually guessing, and you'll never find out what works and what gets you the best results. So I'll give you an example here. So we worked with a construction client based in Stoke-on-Trent. He serviced Stoke and he serviced Cheshire, because to be fair, Cheshire has a lot more high-end and high-ticket clients for his window fitting service. So, at first he gave us a content bank, and we, as an agency, naively assumed that the window content would perform best. But what we did as an agency was we tested it against each other, and we tested 2 offers based on this. One of the offers was 20% off. One of the offers was buy 4 windows and get 1 free. So we had this all tested in the background. Bear in mind, we had to be really efficient because we're on such a low budget here, because the previous agency that I was working with, they spent probably triple our spend, and they didn't get him quite the results he was after. So we had to be really good with his money and his testing. But we quickly found out that the offer and the creative of the windows, and that buy 4 windows get 1 free, just was not resonating with the audience in that area of Cheshire and Stoke-on-Trent. So we found quickly that it was actually the transformations of the doors that were actually getting in the best results. So that, coupled with the 20%, the free consultation and 10-year guarantee on all doors, was really managing to get him some good results. So we knew that we had to go back, and we acted really fast, and we actually updated his ads to focus on the doors, and we got consistent leads coming in every single month. And what else we did, as it's our one responsibility as a Facebook ad advertiser for the client's behalf, we knew that we needed to get some video content on there, because 60% now of the stuff on Facebook ads is video. That's what's performing. So we guided him basically. We give him direct instructions on what to do, how to hold the camera, and then we edited him a nice little door transformation of it's a really good looking door, right? It was black, it had some purple in it, and it was just, one that was really easy to look at on the eye, and it did really well coupled with that offer. But if we had not have tested our audience and our creative, we would not have known that very quickly. And we figured out that the doors were actually the hook to get people in. And once he went to give the consultation and the quote, what happened? Turned out that they wanted windows doing as well. So that is the power of continually testing your creative and your offer. Basically, the key takeaway is, if you don't test, you're guessing, and you don't actually know what is going to resonate with your audience unless you do continually test. Once we went all in on this door content, then we actually managed to more than half his cost per lead, from £47 to £18 from the previous agency, and that's just all because of the testing of the offer and creative that we did on his behalf. Finally, number 3 is focus in on one channel first. So I've seen this time and time again with businesses, and I've also been guilty of doing it myself back in my younger years when I worked in a corporate environment, when I just first started out in marketing, that they try and choose too many platforms. And what that does is it spreads their ad spend too thin, it spreads the time too thin, it doesn't allow them to test, optimize and build, and it gives diluted results. So I've seen this mistake time and time again. People dabble in and out of different platforms like Google, like Facebook, like TikTok, and they just don't get the results that they want. So, I'll give you an example of this. So I worked on a brand at a corporate back when I was a nipper, back when I first started out in marketing nearly a decade ago. We launched the brand and we were running Facebook, Google ads, and we couldn't get enough data in. The ad spend was spread really, really thin, and it just wasn't optimal for what we were trying to do. And we should have tried to get one platform working first, because we weren't managing to break even from the ad spend that we were spending on any of these platforms. But then once we dialed in on Facebook, once we dialed in on the type of conversions that we wanted, we started seeing excellent results, and we actually sold out one of the product lines that we were running. And another prime example of this is a mortgage broker that we're working with right now. So they were dabbling in a lot of platforms. They were buying leads from an aggregator. They had all these different channels, right? So, they finally stopped doing that. They went all in on Facebook. They got the messaging right. They got their testing and offers right. And, from when we started, we were generating probably 40 leads a month. We did all the testing. We did all the offer, all that kind of stuff. And we actually then consistently for the last 3 months have generated 100+ leads for their business every single month. And this is all on about a grand and a half ad spend. So now I'm okay with, they've suggested, oh, can we try TikTok? We want to try TikTok. I said, yeah, okay, we've got the platform working a little bit better for you. It's consistently generating leads every single day, every single month. Okay, we can dabble with 500 quid on TikTok and we can see what happens there. So the key takeaway here is focusing on one, get it pumping on one channel first, like we did with the mortgage broker, and then think about moving on to other platforms. But if your team's small, I'd say keep pumping the ad spend up on the one channel that is working for you. If it's Google, if it's TikTok, if it's Facebook, whatever it is, invest in that. If you've got a small team or you're a small business owner doing it yourself. Lucky with the mortgage broker, they've got a marketing team, they've got me, and they've got some, owner leadership teams there that can all help. They can all muck in, making new creative, etc., to do stuff like this. So you need to look at your resource, you need to look at your spend, you need to look at how much time you've got available before making that decision. So to recap, those 3 fundamentals that have made all the difference for my clients are know your audience, test content and your offers, and focus in, dial in on one channel first. So if you ignore one of these, they all work together. Your results will suffer. We've seen it time and time again, but if you apply them, you will start getting better, more consistent results over and over again, month in, month out for your business. So, let me know in the comments what you're struggling with, and I can make a video on it and I can apply it to these real world examples that we see on a daily, monthly, weekly basis. And if you want me to drop some more real world breakdowns, I can do. Let me know what you want to see, and I'll be dropping videos like this weekly, monthly, whatever you guys want. So let me know. Nice one for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.